give it a minute. Happy Thursday. Thursday is the day ruled by Jupiter. And Jupiter is the planet of abundance. And we are in this full moon eve. So your emotions are probably so simmering right now, ready to release tomorrow, like the apex of just like, shooting that cork out of the champagne bottle. I am completely in that energy right now, like even letting off some of it. I woke up very powerful and almost like enraged. So that's, and see, I'm processing through my throat again. This is me moving through deeper healing. So this full moon in Aquarius, that deeply visionary energy, like let's create something new. When we release, let's replace that newly opened space with something that looks unlike anything we've ever done, right? And then this Chiron, like let's heal these ancient wounds. Let's really dig in, because what you do for one, you do for all. And so if you are willing to give yourself the permission to like dig in and really press on those hurts for yourself, it releases for more than just you. It creates a shock wave across the entire collective consciousness that gives everyone permission to do that. And so it's powerful, especially as women, all women right now on the live, to do this for yourself, to give yourself the permission to do this. And so the Ascended Masters that showed up for me today are Brigitte. And I love that she showed up because I was feeling that almost weak. And not defeated. I never feel defeated, but just like, I'm going to step back and not say this. Maybe I should hold my tongue. I shouldn't say this. But really, we should always say all the things. Hey, a man. Thank you, Troy. You could feel my energy summon you. But when you are mishandled, that's the kindest way to say it. When you are mishandled, it is really important for us to speak our truth into the ether, to say this wasn't okay, so that the universe itself can be the witness to that healing and say, we will not send this to her again. Because she did that thing. She spoke her truth and pushed herself past that. And so thank you for witnessing that, Troy. I appreciate that. And yes, Lorena, we are one. So she talks about inner strength. It says, move back to wholeness. Recognize that you have the power. And so that's exactly what I did this morning. So this is before I even pulled this card. I said, okay, I'm going to say this. And I really had to get myself in my heart. So yes, reciprocating. So what had happened is that in this past exchanges with this particular male, every time I've became vulnerable and really softened and let myself be super feminine to be witnessed by him, he stored that information and unfortunately used it as ammunition to create a wedge, because he's deathly afraid of intimacy, deeper intimacy. So in order for him to create that wedge, he weaponized my own vulnerability and pain against me. And male will do that a lot. I see it more common with males than females, because the males do not want to be the ones responsible. So if they do this, if they push the woman, weaponize her own vulnerability against her, and she is the one who becomes enraged and leaves or just falls away, right? Which is what I was going to do anyway, just kind of disappear, melt into that. Then it would be a disservice to everyone, every woman that he's ever with following me, and also to the collective, because I'm really not healing it. I'm saying, wow, that stung. Okay. Because I do forgive myself. If you saw my post where I said, when someone is cruel to me, I do my best not to hold my breath, because I want to breathe into that space. And so where I felt it is in the solar plexus. It really got me in the gut. So I breathed into that really deep heart, high solar plexus, where those two spaces meet. And in Eastern teaching, that's the seat of the soul. Like, it got me in my core. I breathed into that and I was like, I love you. I love you. I am sorry I brought this into the house. And I put life in it. And then I brought myself into my heart to express how that was painful and it wasn't okay, but then also to reverse it, to teach, because it's so important to teach those, because they are also responding from trauma. So instead of saying this wasn't okay, this hurt, because they fucking know it, that's why they did it. But then to say, this is how we're gonna communicate. This is how you hold someone's vulnerability and then give it back to them through the heart. This is how I witnessed you when you gave me this information. This is how it was witnessed and how I processed it through my heart as a loving woman, giving it back to you, but not weaponizing it against you, and showing you how you are still holding this. And this vulnerability is actually why you injured me. This is why you hurt me, because of this. And I witnessed that. And that was very powerful for me to do first thing upon waking. I mean, I knew I couldn't do any thinking about it or talk myself out of it. I had to do it. And so for Brigitte to show up, that was such a beautiful confirmation. And so yes, I will put my feet in some dirt today because I deserve it. So Archangel Jophiel told me to get in nature and just like fucking chill out. It doesn't say fucking chill out, but basically connect with nature. And nature is how I recharge. So that was good. So it's like the sisters showing up saying, hey, this is good. You summoned your inner strength. And now come commune with me. Put your feet in the dirt and let us celebrate you. Let us celebrate the feminine you, because you did this thing. And then Pious Athena saying, now detach from the drama, which I've done because that was the sending off. And because I have to. And so then I spoke aloud. I cancel all soul contracts with this man, and all of my karmic debts have been paid, and please, I will hold space for his understanding. And yes, like my beautiful sister Lisa reminded me this morning, also hold space for your understanding. And it's true, because I want that to also happen, because for the healing really to happen, and the communication, like I was talking about between Venus and Mars, and Venus teaching Mars how to be the warrior, but heart-centered warrior, because that makes him not only more effective, but it transmutes the energy in such a powerful way that we're not repeating old paradigms. And so now with even Chiron turning back for his partner, Chariklo, for them to communicate and say, he's actually bowing to her saying, I'm carrying this wound, but I think that you hold the wisdom to help me heal this. So do you have any wisdom or insight to share with me? What is the healing balm that you can give me so we can do this thing? And so I love that even in the sky, these conversations and communications are happening. It's powerful. And so now there's comments. So I want to go back. All the hearts. I love you guys. Thank you for witnessing me. Thank you, Troy. Beautiful divine masculine. And you've had it as well. That's powerful. Yes, gut punches and headaches. Lisa, thank you so much for also witnessing me in the mornings too. Lisa was the first one I reached out to after I had done that. So Troy says, do not tug on the garden plants or get expelled from the heart. Protection, yes. And we do have to protect our own energy, even in those things. But that's how, you stay in the heart, and it's powerful because you change things. It transmutes energy, but then your heart, even your own heart, cracks open a little wider, even though it's painful. You've allowed yourself to be vulnerable and speak your truth. And so creating boundaries in that way is also powerful. It's sometimes the most loving thing you could do is say, fuck this. This was painful and that's not okay. And so allowing yourself to move through that is powerful. And so Ganesha showed up. And so Ganesha, a lot of people equate Ganesha as to the goddess of abundance, right? It's always a yes. He's the yes man, the Midas touch, and like everything will be given to you. But a lot of times it's not talked about that he actually is the obstacle remover. So I love that he showed up too, because now I'm like, okay, I cleared this space, but Ganesha's like, okay, I'm going to remove some obstacles for you, Sherry, because I'm going to reward you for that. It's a graduation. It's not a complete graduation because I'm still in the earth suit, right? I didn't transcend this body in this lesson, but Ganesha says, I'm going to remove some obstacles for you because that was good. So hopefully the obstacle is that repeating pattern. Please, Ganesha. So that's that message. And a time for healing. This is the same moon card that showed up for me yesterday. So of course it's a time for healing. We're coming into this full moon and this Chiron retrograde. I'm sure I'll be healing all the way to December. I mean, I hope not, but I'm always healing. We're always healing. As long as you're in a body, you're still healing. But there's certain things that I hope I don't ever have to witness again. And then the weight. So this is interesting because it's true. Spirit called me out. So I always pull my Ascended Masters and then I start drinking my my ceremonial cacao and coffee. And then I start pulling these. So I pull this one. I was like, ooh, excited. Good. Getting all excited. And I was like, yes, yes. And so I was already thinking, which is bad because I talked about this yesterday, right? When you're receiving, close your eyes and open your hands, right? And so instead of doing that, I was like, what's this gonna look like? And right away I pulled this card. So this shows where I was, like, universe giving me the smackdown, like, come on, Sherry, seriously? You didn't close your eyes and open your hands. You're already trying to think of what maybe you deserve, and I just shared it with you too. So the wait for it card is, you're not even going to know what it's going to look like. And it's going to be far grander than you can ever imagine, but it's still being created. What I am going to receive is so grand that they are still creating it. So sometimes the waiting may be like painful or excruciating, but think of it that way. Like, who wants something that's undercooked, right? Some things are quick, but fast food really isn't the best thing for you. So who doesn't love this long, all day, slow cooked meal? We all know that kind of meal, that stick to your ribs, satisfying meal. That's what the universe is doing. It's going to give you something that's really satisfying, and those take longer to design and create and deliver. So the golden spiral, The peace within is what showed up for me today, and I love this. So I love the artwork on these sacred geometry cards too, because you see, right? Like, so in the mind, there's all this storm, but in this divine feminine earth energy, the flower arises from the depths of this stillness. And this will calm the storm. So I love the imagery of that card, but I swore that if I ever got the spiral, I would share the story of this shell. This is beautiful gift that I received from divine masculine friend. He was a client and taught him meditation, I would say a few years ago. I think it's been a few years. And he bushwhacked his way into the heart of Yarmany. So Yarmany is this mountain range that's very remote. People do not go there, especially not to the heart of Yarmany. And Yarmany was a native chief. And so he bushwhacked his way in to this heart of Yarmany and had to brave mountain lions. He slept out in the elements and out in the open. And he saw thousands of these shells, and he said, I had to pick one up and bring one back to you. And like, that kind of raises the bar on I was thinking of you and braved mountain lions. I mean, that's not why he went, but just the whole adventure of it. It's really special. So this is millions of years old from the top of a mountain range in the heart of Yarmany. This beautiful spiral shell. Yes, Troy, the weight of time and space for sure lays heavy on the soul that thinks. That's very true. And Lisa says, I love you. I have to get in the water now. Yes, go for your swim, beautiful sister. She said her solar plexus chakra is on fire and it's so hot out here. Yes. So plunge, sister. Connect with sister water. I love you. I love you. I love you too. Mwah. I'm always with you. I'm taking that dip. I love you. And Troy says movement. Yes. So this card really got me. So I was moving through all of that emotion from that communication I had this morning, and then pulling these cards. And then this one showed up. And the artwork is phenomenal, but it showed up in the reverse, right? And I had never pulled this card in the reverse. So upright, I knew that it was like, take the risk, do it, jump. And I was like, ooh, I wonder what it's gonna be in the reverse. So in the reverse, it talks about being in fear. And the fear is letting go. And letting go of what I possibly think I'm going to be receiving. And the reason why it says let go of that fear, it's because that fear is making you way too small. You are thinking, I'm only worthy to receive this, so this is probably what I'll get. And that keeps me shackled in receiving. And so what this actually said, and this is what really was like cathartic for me to read it, that I had to even read it aloud. And when I shared it with my beautiful sister Stephanie and Lisa both, I cried both times because it was so powerful. But this line, you will not be lost at sea. You will not watch everyone else get what you want while you are left alone and unloved. Now, this amplified an old wound for me. And so if you remember the story that I shared about Chiron being in my Chiron, being in Aries, but also the Chiron right now being in Aries, and my Eris being to the exact degree as Chiron in Aries, means that I so deeply carry the wound of Eris being forsaken by her father Aries, because it's in his house. And so I am really working hard on healing that wound of being abandoned by the father and being not nurtured or nourished by the father, and then being cursed with male energy not being able to witness me in my fullness. And so always searching for the fairest one, and so never feeling like first choice. And it's so deeply painful for me, and I'm healing that. So right away it brought this old, I know, Troy, you feel everything, I'm sorry, don't hold that for me. And so the energy of that reminded me of a period of time, because my father left when I was 6, and I was the only one of the 4 of us siblings that would go and spend time with him, because I always knew that sometimes we would get to go see my grandmother, whom I was so close with, and she's the one I spent my summers with. And so for Christmas, I would specifically ask for very random things that weren't expensive, to see if he would be thoughtful enough to gift me that thing. And every year, and I can remember of 4 gifts right now off the bat that were given to my stepbrother, who was only a year younger than me. And it was the exact thing I asked for. And these are random things. These were not like fad things that were easy to acquire. This was like very random things, but very specifically, these things were given to my stepbrother. And so I remember those wounds. It was painful. And so when I see those things happening, even in Sherry's reality now, I breathe into that space and I say, I'm happy for them. I'm happy for them. And so what I shared with Lisa today, it's like, I see my friend, because my past relationship, he was much younger than me. And he literally told me, if you were 10 years younger, I would stay with you. And I don't know if y'all noticed, but I'm aging really slow. So that hurt. It wounded me, because basically he said, I love you, but you're old. And so I was like, wow, okay. Yeah, Troy, it's laughable now, but it knocked the wind out of me. So anyhow, I have a friend who's actually almost a decade older than me, and her partner is almost 20 years younger than her. And so I look on that and it almost makes me sad, because I see it. It is possible for people. And he's not with her because she is a seasoned woman. He's with her because he actually loves her. And so that kind of salted my wounds, because then I looked at the universe, source, as my father. And again, re-traumatizing myself, saying, wow, you gave that gift to my stepbrother. You see, it's the same wound. And so this card, reading that, really amplified that for me today. And it was like, whew, again, knocked the wind out of me. And so maybe that's the obstacle that's removed, that Ganesha gifted me, like getting socked in the gut again twice in a day. But I see it. And so I will be chiseling away at that, because that's a time for healing. And that will be what I release in the full moon when I do my ceremony tomorrow too. And so acceptance is the gift as my ally today, the stone. So the Petalite, I always call it the chill pill of crystals, because yes, you're right, Troy, what's age with consenting adults? It's not. Yeah. And it is liberation. You're right. So acceptance is also liberation. It's radical self-acceptance, which I actually am in. I don't know anyone who gives themselves permission like this, and holds themselves accountable like I do, and also as transparent as I am. And I was just talking to someone this morning, beautiful Janaea, another soul sister, and I said, I know that it really presses on people, like how liberated I am, how free I am. And like they really don't know what to expect one minute to the next. And I said, but there's a difference between that and feeling like something is being concealed, because I am so transparent. So it's like, no matter what, even though you don't know what's coming, you know it will never injure you or blindside you or knock the wind out of you, because I am always radically in my heart, and I stay that way. What I believe the acceptance is about others not being in their heart. And that's hard. That is hard. And it even makes me want to cry right now. What, Troy? Fire is free to flicker and roar as it may. Yes, but it does consume. So, this is the Petalite. Isn't this beautiful? It's beautiful. It's got this window in it. And that's how it grows, like in these flaky layers, like pastry. But it's got a very high lithium content, so it's super relaxing. I love working with lithium with my clients that have PTSD and they're super stressed. I mean, it's really beautiful. It's this lavender metallic look, and I love giving these to my clients. I call these chill pills, but this is faceted and polished lepidolite in these little cubes. They're easy to carry around, but they are super relaxing. I actually need to get some more of these. And so the piece de resistance, it showed up actually the other day. No, actually a couple weeks ago. And it says from nothing to everything. But what it talks about is releasing. And then sometimes we hold on in fear, which is the come to the edge, like let go of that, because the fear is really limiting you. And so what it says is the fear will always keep you smaller than what is actually coming in. So when you create space and you're shedding so much that you feel that you've actually whittled yourself down to nothing, it is scary, because then you're like, may I cease to exist? And I'm creating so much space. What will actually fill it? And then you get the wait for it. So this card is actually talking about you are not the tree that you're pruning back so much that it will actually die. You are infinite life. You are the plant of resilience and life. You are the life-giving plant. So what you cut back, all those dead leaves, will actually cause it to spring forth with such blossoms that only the divine can design. And you have to let yourself surrender into that. And so thank you again, universe, for calming me after this card. It's saying, here, hold the chill pill, Sherry. Okay, hold it. And look, you're not going to cease to exist, even though you let that thing go this morning. It was a good thing. It wasn't bad. And you're going to go from nothing, feeling like you have absolutely nothing now, to being in a space of absolutely everything, abundance. So that's the spread for today. Yes, reflection and realization. Thank you. And hearts to you too, Lorena. And love to you, Troy. Thank you. Mwah. And thank you for sharing your most valuable commodity with me. And Diana's still here. Hearts to you too, Diana. I love you so much. Thank you for sharing your most valuable commodity with me. Your time and your energy. I appreciate you so much. I feel you, and I feel your support on this path. And I'm so honored to share this path with you. and I am sorry for any disharmony that I have created. Please forgive me. Thank you for this opportunity. I love you. I love you. I love you.